Okay, welcome back. Right, I just wanted to sort of interrupt the workflow a little bit because I've got a problem that I want to just show you how to solve. You might well have this when you're doing models, so it's really good that I show you. Right, first thing I'm going to look at, although we've remeshed it and we've got a lovely mesh for animation, some of the areas still don't hold enough detail. Basically, they're not subdividing enough for me to get real high quality stuff, so I'd have to use Geometry HD. But I don't really want to use it on this model, just because I want to keep it nice and simple and quick like this. So I'm going to show you how to put extra geometry in on this remeshed model. So what we need to look at is the problem. Well, let's come down to the chest plate area in particular, and let's use my brush that I created, the screw one, put that on there. Now look at the faceting there. Now it's probably alright because we're going to see it probably from about that far max anyway, so it'd probably be alright. Just increase the Z intensity and it should be fine. But if we want that to be crystal sharp because we are maybe viewing it from this sort of angle or something, then we can do that. And what we need to do is basically go through the projection process again. But it's much quicker because we've got our mesh already in place, and what we're going to do is just basically add some more polygons to the mesh shape. So what you first need to do is select the Z-sphere, then you need to go into rigging and select that base mesh which we've got, so that's fine. Now we need to use the same mesh as this is to redo our topology, which we can do. We just need to go back to the skin, so out of the Z-sphere, and we need to go to subtools and we need to go to subtools geometry, and we need to take this down to 1. The reason we need to do that is that it'll only allow for like 15,500 polygons in the retopology tool, so we need to reduce that down so that when I select it from the topology it will be this mesh which has been reduced back down to 1. Now it will not affect the high-res mesh we just put in there. So if we go back into our Z-sphere, you'll see our high-res mesh is unchanged, but now we can come down to topology and select the skin topology that we reduced down to level subdivision 1. And now we can go edit topology and we're back. And so what we need to do is basically create some edge loops in here, a bit like we did for the eyes. So it's pretty simple. What we need to do is just select a start point from here. I'm going to take a corner and run an edge loop around this breastplate here. I'm going to come out to there. Oh. One more thing, I just need to turn my symmetry back on. Okay, there we go. And we come across here and we come back out to there. So now we've actually got a little bit of a thing happening there. You've got to watch those. We've actually created an edge loop there, and where I want it to end maybe will be down here. So I'll select this, come up to here, come into the center and click once back out, and we just basically now just connect the dots. So we're going straight up the body and to there. Just going to press A to check that's all going nicely. That should all be okay. And you could do the same thing, or if you want more detail you could do the same thing here. And throw in even more geometry into that area. I'm pressing A just to check things. Not too worried about that little bump, that'll disappear. In fact, I don't really need that one, it's subdivided enough. So it's just to demonstrate how to do edge loops. So you can basically break through by doing these little edge loop things come out. It's always good with a bit of paper just to start scribbling kind of like edge loops, how you would subdivide this up into more, how you would get more lateral or horizontal lines, and you can do that just on a scrap of paper. So now we've put an edge loop in here, basically dividing this up by about another 20 or 30 polygons, but we're well under the 5,000 mark, which was our spec sheet requirement. We were only up to 1,700, so we could double it. So once we're happy with that, then we're going to press the A key. Then we're going to take our density settings up to 7, same as our model. And then we're going to make adaptive skin. Now we're going to come back into our original mesh, bring that right up to 7, append with the new adaptive skin that we just created, which is down here, which will append in there. I'm then going to grab this one and I'm going to delete the morph target that's in there, store a new morph target. Then I'm going to make this one visible and make sure that my skin one is still there, and then I'm simply going to project all. And what will happen is it will project it all, but it will have more divisions in this chest plate area, meaning that the things like the little screw will just be much sharper. I'll demonstrate it to you, and you can see the old mesh, this one, and then the new mesh, this one. So if you need to subdivide certain areas because you haven't got enough detail, that is another way of doing it, and that bypasses you needing to use the HD geometry setting that I showed you earlier. Right, so here's our mesh. So first thing I'm going to do is just turn that one off. We're now looking at our new mesh. So let's zoom in, and I'm just going to put the screw on there. Now as you can see, that's a lot sharper than what we had before, which was this one. Probably better in that area actually. So I'll turn that off. Look how sort of pixelated that is. And now let's flick up our other one and put that there. So you can see it's just a lot sharper. It's so sharp it's pulling up the background. So I would need to go to the alpha again and just put in a radial. It's very small, so of 1, and then I'll just clean that up so you won't see that square. So that's a way of putting extra geometry in there. As you can see, look, more subdivisions across that geometry without having to retopologize the whole model. Okay, right, in the next lesson again I will show you the detailed model finished.